All right, let's get into our tough talk this week, Gilmore. All right, so we've gone with, are spectators in the stands more important to a team or spectators that watch the game on TV or fans at home? And I thought it's a tough one because spectators in the stand, there's nothing better than having a full crowd when you're playing your game,
Yeah.
giving your team home ground advantage to sort of win games. So that's pretty high up there. But spectators on TV get your team's money
Yeah.
to invest in players and actually gets the salary cap increased each couple of seasons and allows you to go get star players that come into your league or whatever you're doing. So it's, I don't know, I struggle with it because we watch sport and I don't know, live sport, I'm one of the people that actually likes watching it at home better. Because on the TV I can pause when I want.
Yeah.
I can replay something if I want. I like watching it at home. Going to the ground, if I get a seat up, like I went and watched Origin a couple of years ago and I could touch the back wall. It's like, if I put my hand out, I was touching the back
Yeah.
wall. And being blind as a bat, I could see nothing.
You're watching cricket.
Yeah. So I'm standing there, you're cheering, I'm trying to watch the big screen to see what's happening. And
Yeah.
so that's my struggle with it. Which do you think is more important to your team?
Well, if you're talking about a specific team, I think the home ground advantage, if you just look at Western Australia, like it's
Yeah.
very hard for people to travel and play the Dockers and play the Eagles. Well, Eagles this year might be a bit easier, but doing that big 6-hour flight,
Yeah.
playing there at a full packed stadium every week, obviously there's a huge home ground advantage and the ticket sales are going directly to that club.
Yeah.
But if you want to talk about what's sort of benefiting the league,
Yeah, I was going to say the league as a whole.
yeah, they're sort of your two areas you're looking at.
Yeah.
So for home ground advantage, obviously, the atmosphere and
Yeah.
the advantage of having all your fans there. It's
Yeah.
like another player for the field. They always say
Yeah.
at the Adelaide Oval, the crowd's the 19th man
Yeah.
in the AFL. But I think the best thing about going to the footy is like the social aspect,
Yeah.
I think. So
Yeah.
when tickets are 20, 30, 40 bucks, that's doable by a lot
Yes.
of people. You go with your mates, have a few beers, and you're hanging out. I think that's sort of is worth it.
Yeah.
But again, I struggle to watch League live, especially
Yeah.
at Suncorp.
Yeah.
It's like,
Well, I got a tough question for your AFL, and I think this was the year before last, where they actually changed the halftime break to make it shorter because I think they were finding out that people were changing the channel
oh yeah, right.
and going to something else. So to keep
Yeah.
more spectators watching at home, they've tried to make the break shorter. But you feel like, Graham, but if you're at the stadium and like you're going for experience,
yeah.
you don't get a chance to go get something to eat.
Yeah,
you don't
yeah.
get a chance.
Yeah.
So they're making, it shows that the game actually cares more
yeah,
about, and I suppose the game covers all the teams, not just
Yeah.
your team, but they care more about the TV revenue. And I actually looked up some stuff. It was like the NRL TV deal they just signed was 130 million a season, I think, for the next 6 seasons.
Yeah, wow.
So it was close to 500 something million.
Yeah.
The AFL one is even crazier. They signed a 643 million a season
yeah,
deal with Channel 7. So just the TV money that's getting put into those games is crazy. And that's where you sort of see why the AFL changed their time
yeah,
to help with TV.
yeah,
You see why, I don't know, NRL's even trying to get more teams in.
Yeah.
Because the more teams, like with the Dolphins coming in, the more games you can show on TV.
Yeah.
The more money you can make. So I try to find like how much a team makes from a home game, like from fans and but I couldn't find
that's- yeah.
that stuff. So I was
It's
like,
obviously worth it because, like, Geelong lose a lot of their home games to go to the MCG because
Yeah.
they can get more fans there. So
Yeah.
if it's Geelong's home game on Easter Monday against Hawthorn, they won't play down at Geelong. They'll go
Yeah.
to the MCG because they can fit twice as many people there.
yeah.
But even though it's not their home ground, they still get the larger portion of ticket sales because it technically
It's
is.
their tier,
and
yeah.
that's always the sell for the AFL. If you go play there, you get more money.
Yeah.
But you always think about, again, home ground advantage. Geelong train on their home ground, which not many people do.
And then they don't get to, but see, that's because even Origin now, right? And that's what we're talking about, the TV rights. They're, every season, they're taking a game away from New South Wales or Queensland to get more people watching
Yeah.
and more people into the game. And you're like, So they really, TV is where the
It's-
money's at.
yeah, TV is where the sustainability is for the
Yeah.
sport itself.
And that's where you can't blame the code for doing that.
Yeah.
But that's where spectators, you feel like you're getting a bit of a rough deal, because I know I don't like live games, but I think people love having Origin decided at Suncorp and getting
Yeah.
to watch instead of having it at Perth.
Yeah.
And do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's where you're like, oh.
But I don't know what the NRL does, but the AFL are pretty good with their like grassroots and community building.
Yeah.
So like the biggest thing is on a Sunday, if you go watch the Lions play or the Suns play, you have the kick to kick after the game. You sort
Yeah.
of build that community within the game, and if you have kids coming through and they get to go see their stars that they see on TV
Yeah.
in real life, I think that's the biggest pull. They take families along.
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest benefit of the live games.
Yeah.
Is like getting everyone up and through, because the games
Yes.
can be quite late and kids
Yeah.
potentially.
See, that's
stay
my
up.
struggle with the TV deal as well. Like, we're talking about that being more important, but now games are getting so late just because
Yeah.
it's prime time for TV
Yeah.
and for ads.
Yeah.
So even if you want to take your little league to go watch a game, I'm not
Yeah.
taking Rain to go watch an 8 p.m. game and get
Yeah.
home 10.
Man,
and
I can't
train
even do
back.
that on a Thursday night and then rock up to work the next
Yeah,
day.
yeah,
That's
like
pretty tough.
so it's the TV deal is good for the game. It's good for
Yeah.
the code as a whole, but I think it sort of devalues the spectators because
Mm.
now they're doing everything they can to get as much money as they can,
Yeah.
and that's where a code and a sport as a whole's got to find the balance to go. You know what? Friday night games 8 o'clock or Saturday night games, they're too late.
Yeah, but it's also the time difference thing. So
Yeah.
if there's
That's
a
what I
game
was-
in Melbourne, they'd put it at 7 o'clock in Melbourne, so it was 8 o'clock for us or whatever. And if they're playing over in Perth, you have all
Was
those
it daylight?
different
So
things.
I think there was a year, was it a little bit during last year or the year before, where games were actually not too bad.
Yeah.
I think, I don't know, was daylight savings made it a bit earlier for us,
Yeah.
so we were getting
Yeah, so-
7 8 p.m. games. That was good.
Yeah.
And that's where, I don't know, I struggle with the coach trying to find the balance, and I think where the TV is the main reason they're making decisions,
Yeah.
it sort of takes away from the sport. And I don't know, like even what happened to a Monday? They tried to bring in a Monday
Yeah.
night game in the NRL, but because no one was watching on TV,
Yeah.
got rid of it. I think the AFL, you'll try to do it Thursday. Is it still granted to Thursday?
Yeah, they
night
still
game?
do. There's, I think, maybe 12 or
Rounds of
14
it.
weeks of the year they'll do a Thursday and you have footy all the way through. But again, it's like, the thing I struggle with, obviously living in Queensland, it's not
Yeah.
like an AFL state. But like how many people pay out AFL, but how big it is.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, and that's why I just had said, just from the TV rights alone, AFL is
Yeah.
getting 500 million more a season.
yeah.
That's crazy.
But I mean, you look at if just a normal round game, Collingwood versus Carlton at the MCG,
Yeah.
it's almost like a grand final, the amount
Yeah.
of tickets they sell.
Getting 90,000 to a
Yeah,
a-
I got a
ground
few points
Yeah.
on the TV.
Yeah.
Just in like the climate that we're in at the moment, it's obviously better viewing and more accessible.
Yeah.
So, how often do you watch a game on the TV? You could just watch it on your phone. Like I'll
Yes.
go and play golf and have the footy playing
Yeah,
at the same
yeah,
time.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
you don't
Yeah.
miss out on anything.
Yeah.
And obviously, new people coming into the game, you have the commentary. I remember I took my sister
Yeah.
when she was young to a game, and she's like, "Why can't I hear the talking
Yes.
at a live game?" I'm like, "You silly person."
Yeah.
So there's those
Yeah.
aspects that can sort of be a beneficial, but I
Yeah.
think on a whole, the live games are for the fans, and then the TV is for
Everyone.
Yeah.
Because when you think about it, did COVID give us a chance to see what it would just be like just on TV?
Yeah, maybe.
You know what I mean? With no one going to watch.
Yeah.
And it's hard because everyone was home, so you
Yeah.
would be watching a game. It would be interesting if they just went for a season and people could have a choice of doing stuff and go, you know what? We're going to have a game, no fans allowed, and we're going to show it on TV and see if the TV gets a little bit more viewers.
Yeah.
Or because I think what they do in England, and I don't know if we do it in Australia, but sometimes if your local team's playing, like the Broncos is playing, they actually don't show it live on TV.
Yeah, they
in
used to do that
Brisbane.
way back in the
Yeah,
day.
so
to
people
try and
would
get
go
people- Yep.
to the game and you'd get a replay or something.
Yeah.
And
But I mean, with KO coming in, I can be watching whatever the free to air one is on TV,
Yeah.
and then have the second game on my
Yeah.
phone, and then even like within the KO watch an NRL game, AFL game, and then
Same
another one on
time.
TV.
Yeah.
So I mean, in this binging culture, you can just take on as much sport as you want, and I think it helps with betting as well.
Yeah.
That you have access to everything and
Yeah.
be able to watch everything at the same time.
So we sort of agree as a whole, TV is the best thing for the code to
Yeah.
get as much money as it can. Like you said, AFL does great with their grassroots, and that's because they got money coming out of
Yeah.
NRL. It actually saved the NRL, that TV deal before
Yeah.
COVID, because getting those games on kept the game going through that time when it was tough. So TV is good for the code,
Yeah.
but we agree that sort of the games and your home ground advantage is good for your individual team.
Yeah.
And that's where the competition aspect comes in, and you go, you know what, to win a comp, if you win your home games, you nearly
Yeah.
make the finals.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So yeah, there's definitely an advantage there for the club, and
Yeah.
I think that's the difference.
and that's where I suppose gets down to the club. What can they do during home games to keep
Yeah.
the people coming
Yeah.
and keep them sort of...
Yeah. Well, that was like back in the
Pack their
day, maybe
stadiums.
like 4 years ago, the Panthers would put on like not a carnival day, but like a massive family day.
Yeah.
And they'd have things all the way up before the game to get the families there, and then they'd stay and watch the footy.
Yeah.
And again,
Yeah.
that builds the culture, builds the brand,
Yeah.
and it, like again, builds that home ground advantage.
So, I don't know. We've spoken about some interesting points: the TV money, home ground advantage, what the codes, why the codes are doing what they want to do. We'd love to see you listen to what you think out there, and that's why we've started our Chalk and Cheese, to have these conversations and see what the audience thinks. We're up to our 4th episode now. My wife's pretty confident that if I can get up to 9, Gilmore, she'll let us improve our mic. And maybe new camera, we'll have to see. But thanks for listening to this week, and we'll speak to you all next week.
Thank you.